Hello again and welcome back to our course on SharePoint Foundation 2013. In the previous section we created a new subsite called Team Talk, which is a team site for our project management organization. And in this section and the next one we're going to add content to the site, and we're also going to customize it. Now, one thing I should point out here is that there's absolutely nothing to stop me going back to the top level site, SPF 2013, and performing similar kinds of customization there. But for the moment I want to work on this subsite, and in this section I'm going to begin with some customization. I'll also review some of the features you've already seen in relation to navigation and add quite a bit more detail to those navigation concepts. So let's get started. Now, one of the earliest steps in my customization is going to be to set the title, description and logo. Now, we looked at these options before. Let's just go into that setting again. So I click on Site Settings, Title, Description and Logo. I'm going to leave the title and description as they are. Obviously you can change them if you want to, but I'm going to use our local very simple logo instead of the default SharePoint logo. Now, if I know the location of the logo, I can type it in here, or I can click on From Computer, and that gives me a browse option. Just before I do that, there is a description box under here which you can use to enter the alt text for the picture. But let's go back here, click on From Computer. Now I'm going to browse to the folder that contains the picture that I want. Then I select the file that I'm going to use as my logo, click on Open. Click on OK, and that now appears as my logo. As you can see, it's a straightforward stylized text PM. And then finally I've entered alt text for the logo. That's just for readers and so on. The URL name, I'm going to accept the default as before. Click on OK. My changes will be saved. Now if I go home within Team Talk, I can see the new look of the subsite with my simple logo there. The next thing I'm going to do is to change the look and feel of this site. I may just not particularly like all this blue. I may need to change the site to fit in a little bit more with my corporate color scheme, my corporate fonts and so on. But let's first of all look at the general principles. Again, we go to Gear, to the Site Settings. And this time in the look and feel section we go for change the look. Now I think it's fair to say that with change the look you really can change the look of a SharePoint site very dramatically. And I'm going to make a fairly dramatic change now, although I am going to choose a different style in reality, because you may find the one I'm going to try first a little bit overpowering on the course. But let's go down to one of these options. Let's go for wood at the end. And these are basically predefined style sets. And if I choose wood as an example, click to select, not only do I get that style set as you can see it represented there, but I can further customize by choosing from a range of available color schemes. So the color schemes that go with it I can choose from there. I'm going to go with the default. I can choose a range of different site layouts. Seattle, that's how Seattle would look. Oslo, that's how Oslo would look. So let's go with Oslo. And then I can also choose from the available fonts. And so again, they're the fonts that could go with that particular style. Let's again stick with the default. Once you've made those selections, if you click on Try It Out, you can see what it actually looks like on your site. Now obviously at this stage I've got so little content in the site that's relevant to me that it's actually quite difficult to see whether I like that style or not. But you may want to set this early on, because again it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. You may want to decide on the style before you decide how to lay out the content. But it is pretty straightforward to apply a different style. And then, as you can see from these two options at the top here, if you like what you see, you can say yes, keep it. If not, you can say no, not quite there. Now, that's going to be far too overpowering for the course, no matter how much you like it as a style. So I'm going to go back to start over, and I'm going to choose what I'll loosely call one of the lighter styles. I'm going to choose that sketch style. I'm going to change the color scheme. I'm going to choose the Seattle style, and I'm going to stick with the Rockwell Light font. Let's try that. So there we are. Why don't I say that I'm going to keep that? You can, of course, change the style freely later on at any point in time. So if it turns out that we don't particularly like this, it's straightforward to change in a similar way in future. Now, we've already looked at navigation earlier in the course, but now I want to look at a few more options for navigation. We're still looking at site settings, and we're still in the look and feel section. And one of the options in the look and feel section is this one, Tree View. Click on Tree View, and you can see that you have two checkboxes, and these two determine what we see on the left hand side. Quick Launch is enabled, but if I enable Tree View as well, as you can see from the description here, the Tree View displays site content in a physical manner as a tree view, similar to the sort of folder style you get in something like File Explorer. Now, of course, we've got very little content in the site at the moment, but I think you'll still get the idea. Click on OK, and there you still have the quick launch, but now you have the tree view as well, which can be very useful when you've got a structured selection of documents, and then you have other site assets, site pages, and so on. The quick launch, remember, as the name implies, is somewhere to put the quick links to parts of the site that your users may want to get to quickly. The tree view is effectively a comprehensive tree structured index to the site content. Now, obviously, if you wanted to switch the tree view off again, that's absolutely no problem. Click back in tree view, and then not only can you obviously switch off the tree view, but you could switch off the quick launch as well if you wanted to. So let's click on OK, go back to how things were. The next thing we're going to do is to customize the navigation on the TeamTalk subsite. So from the site settings page, click on Quick Launch. And that takes us into the facility whereby we can edit the quick launch. Now, as you can see, I already have 3 links set up on quick launch. I have home, documents, and site contents. And as I add more content, I'm often given the option of adding that to the quick launch. But I can manually edit the quick launch if I want to. So for instance, I could choose one of these links, such as the home link, and one of the options that I get if I select a link is to delete it. I can also edit it. So for instance, in the case of the home link there, I can't change the web address of the home link. Obviously it's fixed to the home page of the TeamTalk subsite, but I could change the description that appears. So instead of having the word home there, I could have something else like TeamTalk Home, for example. On this occasion, I'm not going to change that. But I am going to add a new navigation link. And in fact, what I want to do on this subsite is to put a little batch of quick links to the relevant professional websites that project managers might well be interested in. So if I click on New Navigation Link, I then need to add 3 pieces of information. First of all, the web address for the link, next a description for the link, and then thirdly I need to specify which of the available headings it comes under. Now I should point out that the web address here may be a web address within our site structure, but it may also be an external web address. And in fact, what I have here on this other tab in Internet Explorer is a link to the home page of the Project Management Institute, the PMI, and I'm just going to copy that web address. So I'm going to click there in the URL, copy it, go back to the new navigation link, and I'm going to paste the link in there. For my description, I'm going to say PMI website, and I'm just going to put it in the home section for now, I think. Click OK. And now you can see how the PMI website appears under the home heading. Now, using this option, new heading, I can create my own headings. And for example, if I click on PMI website when I'm in edit mode, as I mentioned before, you can change the URL, you can change the description, you can also change which heading it comes under. So you can actually move these links around. So there's quite a lot of flexibility there to allow you to arrange the quick launch in whatever way that you'd like to. But let's stick with that arrangement just for the moment. I'm going to click on OK. Then I'm going to go home. And that's now how the site works, with the PMI website link there. And if I click on PMI website, I get to the Project Management Institute's home page. Let me just do a back to go back to Team Talk again. Now let's look at a different approach to the same job. I'm just going to quickly show you this, and then I'm going to leave you to experiment with it yourself. If you look at the quick launch on the left here in Team Talk, click on Edit Links, and you can achieve the same things but in quite a different way, because with Edit Links, not only can you delete an individual link using these crosses here, but if you hover over a link, you can see where it is a link to displayed at the bottom of the window there. So that's the URL for the PMI website. That's the URL obviously within this site structure for documents and so on. You can also drag and drop links onto this location and actually create a link within the quick launch by dragging and dropping it on there. Alternatively, you can add a link by clicking this Add a Link button here, and that brings up this little dialog. Add a link where you put in the text to display and the URL, the address for the link, and you get an option here to try that link out. So you can do it that way, and if you want to change the order of your links, for instance, you could click on PMI website and you could drag it down here, say, and drop it right at the bottom of the list. When you finish making the changes, click on Save. Now, as I said, I'm going to leave you to experiment with that. But let's look again now at the top link bar. Now, the current situation with the top link bar is that it is being inherited from the parent site. And if we wanted to edit it, we could either go to the parent site and edit it there, or we can stop that inheritance. For the moment, I'm going to edit it in the parent site. So let's go back up to SPF 2013. And as with the quick launch, there are actually two approaches here. If you click on Edit Links, you can see the two links with a delete or remove button next to each of them. You also have a drag and drop facility, and you also have the facility to add a link here. So once again, there's quite a lot of flexibility in what you can put where. You can also, of course, drag links left and right in order to change the order. But let's cancel that. Let's go to the gear, site settings, top link bar, and then we have a very similar situation to the one we had with the quick launch, in that we can create a new navigation link, or by clicking on one of the existing links we can type for that web address a different description, or we can delete the link altogether. So they're the options for editing the top link bar. So we've done a batch of work on the Team Talk subsite, and we need to do some more, particularly in relation to content. So that's in the next section. Please join me for that.